Every top Warzone player has small tricks and tips that all add up to make them a cut above the rest. In this video, I'm going to share even more tips with you guys that we covered in the last video, and by the way, if you haven't watched it, go and check it out right now guys. If you guys follow these tips that I'm about to share with you, you'll become a much better player. I am number 2 on the in-game leaderboard for most kills, and I use these techniques every day, so you can trust me based on how much time that I put into this game. I want to genuinely help you guys become better players, and following these tips will take your game to the next level. Before we get into this, there's a couple controller settings that you need to change right now. Automatic sprint, set this to automatic tactical sprint. Interact/reload behavior to prioritize interact. Slide dive behavior, set this to inverted. Plunging underwater, set to movement. Sprinting door bash, set to on. And parachute auto deploy, set to off. Firstly, this is why we turned off auto deploy in the settings for your parachute. Here's an example of how easy it is to shoot someone who pulls their chute too early. And here is me pulling it at the last second, which lets me get into that gunfight much quicker and allows me a bigger chance to win the gunfight. Here's an example of an enemy pulling a chute way too early, rotating in from the gas, and he was an easy kill from me. This is what you do not want to do. Here's an example of me pulling my chute late versus these guys that were camping my loadout, which I wouldn't have been able to if my chute was pulled prematurely. And as you can see from the guy who just laid down in the smoke, he went from being very confident to a dog with his tail between his legs, regretting his decision. The next part goes hand in hand with the first technique, and that is double tapping Y or triangle. When you pick up a gun, this lets you pull your gun up to shoot much quicker than just simply letting the animation play. This is very important in the beginning of a game, especially when everyone is still looting, and also when no one has the fast hand perk, so make sure you guys get in the habit of doing this. As you can see here in a side-by-side comparison, the time difference is huge. Another thing that was recently added to Warzone is the personal redeploy drones. You can use these to not only get out of sticky situations, but to play aggressively. See here, I used my drone to push this guy who's running away from me. He was looking for me to chase around this building, but I was already behind him because I closed the gap very quickly. Too quick that he didn't expect it. But this can also go horribly wrong. As you can see from the guy here, use it too long or in the wrong spot and you're an easy kill for the enemy, in this case for me. Next up is after you use a redeploy zip, or even when you parachute from a building that's pretty high, make sure that you guys always pull your chute at the last second, allowing you to mantle immediately in front or behind the enemy, reducing the amount of time it takes to get in the gunfight drastically. As you saw from the beginning of this example, pulling your chute way too early means that you're an easy target for your enemy to shoot and you become a free kill. Here's an example in game of me using it, and I managed to wipe these two guys that were camping on a roof, as they did not expect me to land on them so quickly with my guns, and they got wiped instantly. Next is using doors for information. You don't always need to burst out of doors to break someone's camera, because they can sometimes expect it if they know you're there. So if you constantly burst it open and peek whilst doing so, you can gain valuable information. As you can see here in this example in game, I'm one shot and I know that my enemy's going to chase me because I'm so weak. So as I'm playing, I'm peeking through the door, closing it to gain info on my enemy. When I see he's close enough, I then pop out and I get the finish on him. Here's another example of me being chased again. This guy decides to waste his ammo by spraying through the door. He decides to not chase me in this scenario. When I realise that he's out of ammo, I don't hear him shooting anymore, I burst through the door again and chase him for an easy kill whilst he's stuck reloading and running away. Next up is door playing. This is probably the best technique to use on Warzone 2, and you'll see a lot of top players, particularly resurgence players, use this as there's so many doors, especially on vondel. This technique just always catches your opponent off guard, as he's usually just saw you close the door expecting you to run away, but then you pop back out and catch them off guard. There's many ways to use the door play. You can use it offensively. For example, here I'm chasing a guy, but he gets outside the door before I can get the down on him, so I carefully stop, close the door, and then break through it, breaking his camera, allowing me to get past the guy and get the kill. You can also close doors in people's faces, like here, this guy initially saw me go to the left, then I moved to the right, and then I moved to the left again. He had no idea where I went. It's important to always keep your opponent guessing. You can also use this technique as you're running away from danger. Here you can see in this example I'm one shot and I let him barge through the door on me whilst plating up. Then I go through the door again and also close it once more, as I'm not fully ready to fight this guy with my gun with no ammo. I need to still reload it, but then I go through it again, which allows me to finish the reload, and then he's an easy finish off. Next up is snaking, and this is profoundly used across most COD titles and is arguably the most overpowered mechanic that can be abused. This allows you to gain valuable information behind a head glitch. It also lets you plate up, lets your health regen, all at the same time of making you such a hard target to hit. Snaking gives you, opponent, such a hard hitbox to hit where only your head pops up, and even then it is very, very slight. In these examples you can see I'm very one shot. I'm snaking to gain the information just to see where the enemy is. And I make this guy one shot, as you can see, and he just runs off, allowing me to finish the teammate. Here's the input on your controller that you need to be using to perform the snaking action. Simply hold your prone button whilst going backwards on your movement stick, and then sprint forward one step and repeat this action over and over and over, until it looks like you're doing what I'm doing in this video. To expand on snaking in the game, you can also snake, or G-walk as it's called, even when you're not on head glitches. And you can see what I look like here to my enemy. Now that looks terrifying to come across. I always know if I see someone doing that, it's a demon and I need to be careful. Here's an example of me doing it in game. I'm out in the open, no cover, and instead of just standing, pre-aiming, or being an easy target, hardly moving for my enemy, I'm constantly centered on the area where I know that he is, and I begin G-walking, waiting on him to pop out. The last video done so well, guys, and we smashed the like goal of 250 likes, almost mounting to 1000 likes. And by the way, check it out if you haven't already watched, guys. If we can hit 500 likes on this video, I will show you guys how I managed to break down squads of 3 and 4 on my own and help you guys get better at fighting squads alone and be more confident in your gameplay. If you want to watch me live, you can catch me on Twitch. I'm live every day. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys.